All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into the world of DougDoug. And I know you guys requested this one, and let me tell you, the research rabbit hole for this one is deep. We've got wiki entries, forum posts, even, shall we say, some interesting anecdotes. It's like trying to solve a digital mystery. Who eyes the real DougDoug?
Yeah, you know what's so fascinating is how he's cultivated this air of mystery around him. It's not just the content itself, but the way he presents it. It's like performance art but disguised as gaming, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Like he's built this whole persona, this online character almost.
Yep.
So Douglas Scott Wreden, born January 18th, 1991, a German-American from Sacramento, California. Like that's the starting point, the bare facts. But where does the DougDoug we see online begin?
Well, I think some clues might lie in his family background. I mean, his brother, Davy Wreden, he's the mastermind behind the game The Stanley Parable. So it makes you wonder if that creative, slightly absurdist streak, it runs in the family, you know?
It's very possible. And we can't forget that story about Doug's German grandfather fleeing Germany during a time Doug describes as really messed up. It definitely hints at a family history that's more complex than meets the eye. Especially when you consider his family on the other side were cotton and sorghum farmers in Texas.
Yeah, wild mix of influences, right? And, you know, his father, Don Wreden, he actually broke with that farming tradition to become a doctor. Could that have played a role in shaping Doug's own path? You know, maybe even his rebellious anti-establishment streak?
That is such a good point, because becoming an internet personality, especially one as unconventional as DougDoug, is definitely not the traditional career path for a doctor's son.
No, absolutely not. And speaking of unconventional, we have to talk about the infamous Shit King incident from his childhood.
Oh yeah, the one that Davy Wreden later debunked.
That's the one.
But even the fact that it exists is telling, right? 7-year-old Doug, family dinner, walks out of the bathroom holding, well, you get the picture, and proclaims himself the Shit King.
It's so outlandish, so absurd, that it almost becomes a meta-commentary on internet fame itself. Like Doug is playing with this idea of how easily stories, even untrue ones, can spread online.
It makes you wonder if that debunking actually makes the story even funnier, like it adds a layer of meta-humor, as if Doug is in on the joke of his own, exaggerated online persona.
That's such a good observation. I like that. And it speaks to his self-awareness, his willingness to play with these lines between reality and performance. He's not afraid to poke fun at himself, even if it means, embracing a potentially embarrassing childhood story.
Okay, so maybe the Shit King incident was embellished, right? But there are plenty of other bizarre anecdotes from his younger years that seem to paint a picture of a unique individual. Bald until he was 13. The pee pants Doug incident, getting those giant red boots stuck in the mud. It's like a greatest hits of childhood mishaps.
And they're not just random, these stories. They feed into the DougDoug persona we see online. They highlight this clumsiness, this awkwardness that he then weaponizes for comedic effect.
Right. It's almost like he's saying, look how ridiculous I am.
Yeah.
But I'm owning it.
Exactly. He's taking these potentially embarrassing moments and turning them into relatable content. I mean, it's a form of self-deprecation that really resonates with viewers, especially in a world where everyone online seems to be striving for perfection,
And then there's the talent show with the duck call and the whole Sheep King saga revealed, again, by his brother Davy. It's like this recurring theme of unusual interests and obsessions.
Well, the Sheep King story is a really interesting one, with the presentation about the beauty of human sheep kissing, the petting zoo incident, the sheep costume. I mean, it definitely raises questions. Is it a genuine fascination, a long-running joke between the brothers?
Maybe it's both. But I think the key takeaway here is that Doug leans into the absurdity, He takes these strange, seemingly random interests and weaves them into his content, making them part of his brand of humor.
Totally. It's a brilliant way to differentiate himself in such a crowded online landscape. He's not just playing games, he's creating this bizarre, unpredictable world where sheep kissing and duck calls are somehow part of the equation.
And then there's college.
Yeah.
UC Berkeley, computer science, all pretty standard stuff, until you get to the part about his fraternity. Tau Kappa Epsilon.
Ah, yes, the fraternity. And the unconfirmed story about Doug's role as the hypophytes. Now, Jenkum is let's just say, controversial substance. And its alleged connection to Doug's fraternity role adds another layer of mystery to his past.
Okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. Mystery, absurdity, a willingness to push boundaries. These seem to be the core elements of the Doug persona, even in his early years.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that we're relying on secondhand accounts here, right? Stories told by others, often with a humorous slant. So the truth is likely somewhere in between the lines.
But you know that ambiguity is part of what makes him so intriguing, right? It's like we're piecing together a puzzle, and each piece is more bizarre than the last.
And that puzzle gets even more complex when we start to look at, like, the evolution of his online presence. I mean, he started out as Glowdus on YouTube, focusing on Hearthstone gameplay.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff for the time. But then in 2018, the shift happens. The rebranding to DougDoug, the move away from traditional gameplay.
It's like he had this realization, I can do something different with this. I can break the mold. And that's when we see the emergence of his, like, signature style. You know, the voice commands, the blindfolded challenges, the explained with food series.
He's taking gaming and turning it into something utterly unique. And it's not just about being different for the sake of being different. There's a real creativity, a comedic genius at play here.
Oh, absolutely. He's tapping into something deeper. It's like he's saying gaming doesn't have to be serious. It can be absurd. It can be funny. It can be a shared experience of controlled chaos.
And that's where his relationship with his Twitch chat comes in, right? They're not just passive viewers. They're active participants in this whole thing.
Exactly. He calls them his slaves, but it's all in good fun. They help him solve problems that no one has, to quote DougDoug himself.
And the whole running gag about Twitch chat being trapped in his basement, forced to participate in his schemes, creates this hilarious dynamic, this shared world where anything can happen.
It's like a digital theater production, with Doug as the ringmaster and his chat as the unwitting performers. And, you know, like any good ringmaster, he knows how to create suspense, how to keep the audience on the edge of their seats.
Which brings us to the Great Purge incident. Thousands of Twitch chat members killed off by their digital overlords. Dark, dramatic, and absolutely hilarious.
Perfect example of how DougDoug uses humor to just totally subvert expectations, not afraid to break the rules, to push the boundaries of what's considered, you know, acceptable online behavior.
But isn't that part of the appeal? His viewers, they know it's all a bit, a way to create this shared experience of controlled chaos.
Precisely. It's a collective inside joke. And it's this willingness to embrace the absurd, the unexpected, that really sets him apart from other online personalities.
And then there's Diablo the Cheater, his Skyrim modding alter ego.
Ah, yes, Diablo. The embodiment of Doug's, like, chaotic energy unleashed in the virtual world.
Spawning cheese, killing characters with a touch, turning the game into an interdimensional sex simulator. It's like he's taken all the rules of gaming and thrown them out the window.
Yeah, he's not just playing the game, he's deconstructing it, exposing the absurdities, and turning it into something completely new. It's a form of creative rebellion, a rejection of the idea that games have to be played a certain way.
And that creative rebellion extends beyond just his own content. Remember those AI-generated bedtime stories featuring, like, alternate timeline DougDugs?
Oh, yeah. Mexican Doug, the conservation biologist, and Doug Douglas, the genie who interviews God on, like, the Steve Colbert show or something. It's bizarre. It's hilarious. And it shows how Doug's persona has transcended his own content. You know, he's become this meme, this concept that other people can just riff on and play with, further blurring the lines between reality and this online persona he's cultivated.
It's like he's created this open source character that anyone can just contribute to.
Exactly, a testament to his impact. He's not just creating content, he's inspiring other people to create, to play, to explore the boundaries of online humor.
Okay, so we've established that Doug is a master of the absurd, the unpredictable, the chaotic. But let's get specific. What are some of the quirks, the catchphrases, the little details that make him so DougDoug?
Well, where do we even begin? The olive oil obsession, the questionable hygiene, the detachable ears.
Wait, detachable ears.
That's what the sources say. Apparently, he's been known to remove them for dramatic effect. It's another layer to this bizarre, ever-evolving persona he's created.
Okay, hold on. I need a moment to process all of this. Sheep kissing, toilet costumes, olive oil dish, and detachable ears. Is this guy for real?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But even if it's all an act, it's a brilliantly crafted one. He's managed to create this character that's both absurd and relatable, outrageous and strangely endearing.
And let's not forget the catchphrases. It's poop or heckin' in there. Let's go. Open the fart gates. Where does he even come up with this stuff?
Like, his brain is wired for nonsensical brilliance. These phrases are so random, so out of context, yet they become iconic. It's the power of repetition, of delivery, of creating catchphrases that stick in your mind long after the video ends.
And they're so DougDoug,
Yeah.
They encapsulate his energy, his humor, his whole chaotic vibe.
It's like he's making a language that only his audience understands. And that shared language, that sense of belonging, it's part of what makes his community so strong.
He's like a secret club for people who appreciate the weird, the unconventional, the hilariously absurd.
Absolutely. And speaking of weird, we have a whole list of trivia and personal details that just add to the Doug enigma. He hates Europeans but loves the Irish. Claims to use Microsoft Edge but actually uses Firefox. Born on the same day as Operation Desert Storm.
Has a duck named Scrimblow. And he peed on a child in a toilet costume.
That last one is certainly a choice. But all of these details, as bizarre as they may seem, they all contribute to the overall picture of DougDoug as this complex, contradictory, and endlessly entertaining figure.
He's like a walking, talking meme generator. Every detail, every anecdote just adds another layer to the legend.
And that's the brilliance of his approach. He's not just creating content, he's creating a mythos. A world where anything is possible and nothing is off limits.
But amidst all the chaos, the absurdity, there's also this vulnerability to DougDoug that we can't ignore. He often talks about his struggles, his personal woes, albeit with his signature comedic twist.
Ah, yes, the bald, blonde virgin status. The battle with horse tilt, which, for those out in the know, is a real-life condition where your vision tilts, making it, like, really hard to play games. The olive oil addiction, the stress of dealing with Twitch chat, PTSD from understanding the plot of Kingdom Hearts.
And, of course, being banned from Stanley Parable 2 by his own brother.
It's a list of misfortunes that would make anyone crumble, but Doug turns it into comedic fodder, a way to connect with viewers who also feel overwhelmed by life's absurdities.
Yeah, his struggles are always presented with this self-deprecating humor that allows him to connect with viewers on that level.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, hey, life is messy, it's weird, and sometimes it just plain sucks. But we can laugh about it together.
It's a good reminder that even internet personalities, even those who seem to have it all figured out, are just human beings trying to navigate this crazy world.
And that's what makes DougDoug so relatable. He's not afraid to show his flaws, his vulnerabilities, his quirks. In fact, he embraces them.
He's not trying to be perfect. He's just trying to be real. And in a world of carefully curated online personas, that's incredibly refreshing.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The bizarre anecdotes, the catchphrases, the olive oil, the sheep, the shit king, the great purge. I mean, it's a lot to take in. So where does this all leave us? Who is DougDoug, really?
Right, like, is he a performance artist using gaming as his medium? Is he a comedic genius? Did he just crack the code of internet humor? Or is he just a guy who loves olive oil and messing with his viewers?
Honestly, I think it's a bit of all of the above. Like, he's created this multifaceted persona. It's kind of impossible to pin down. And I think that's part of what makes him so fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's constantly evolving, pushing the boundaries of what's expected, challenging the norms of online entertainment.
I think that's exactly why he resonates with so many people, especially, younger viewers. He represents a rejection of the overly polished, carefully curated online personas that have become so prevalent. Yeah, he's like a breath of fresh air in a world full of influencers who seem more concerned with likes and followers than just being authentic, DougDoug, he embraces the weird, the messy, the unfiltered, and people, they respond to that.
He's relatable, even when he's being totally absurd.
Yeah.
Because deep down, I think we all have that little voice inside us that's like, screw it, let's just be weird.
It's the voice of rebellion, of creativity, of not taking ourselves too seriously. And DougDoug, he's given that voice a platform. He's shown that it's okay to be different, to embrace the things that make you unique, even if those things involve sheep costumes and a lot of olive oil.
Well said. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of the DougDoug phenomenon. Like, there's so much more to explore, to analyze, to ponder.
And that's the beauty of it, right? He's left us with more questions than answers. Is he a genius or is he a madman? A performance artist, or just a guy who loves to have fun?
Yeah, I guess that's for each of us to decide. I mean, we've given you the pieces of the puzzle. Now it's your turn to try and put them together.
Explore his content, dive into his world, and see what you discover. The DougDoug rabbit hole, it goes deep, and it is full of surprises. You never know what you might find.
Happy diving, everyone.